Welcome to our van. I know some of you are curious about how we've been living the last week or so in the van. Today we're going to show you. Okay, so in the van, behind the chairs, we have about 10 foot of length and about 6 feet across. You'll see that where the walls end, it goes back a little further. That's because Scott's 6'4", and this provides him ample length to sleep. So we still need to finish those in with some wood. You'll notice that not everything is finished in the van, but here's our little setup. So we have 2 countertops, butcher blocks we got from LL Flooring. Actually, they sell butcher block countertops. All the wood, Scott has built this whole thing himself. Everything came from Lowe's or Home Depot. We have a beautiful large sink here to do dishes or brush our teeth or do whatever, wash our face. And we store things in it when we drive because it can be protected in here, but otherwise we have the sink. If you need to spray off after a hike, you can come outside the van to do that. But otherwise, when we're not using it, we use it for storage. We do actually have a lot of storage in here, surprisingly. This is my clothing drawer. This is Scott's clothing drawer. Then we have, just like a junk drawer here and here as well. Everything has magnets from the front and the back so that when you drive, all these cabinet doors don't swing and wiggle open. So everything has magnets in it. Scott's going to talk a little bit more about some of the computer setup in a little bit. But also, we have storage, a lot of storage up here. This above storage actually goes really deep, so we can fit a lot of storage up here. Then we have another area here for a little bit of storage. It's pretty short and shallow, so things we need to get to on a regular basis, like my makeup bag. We have a fan up here. Scott installed this himself, which is pretty cool. Since we don't have AC, we use this quite often, and this is just a cover for it when we drive. Also has magnets inside, and they attach to the screws up here. Okay, our food storage is in this main cabinet here. It's a mess. It kind of stays a mess because no matter how much you organize it during transit, things fall over. But we particularly use our electric kettle most. It'll heat up our water. We can have a lot of different food options through that. We also have a hot plate and a skillet, and we can make eggs in a basket or fry up some eggs or do things like that. We do have a full electrical system. I'll get into that in just a second, or Scott will, somebody will. So we'll talk about that in a second. Then over here under this cabinet for storage is I talked about how this is our sink for water. Not sure what you can see in here, but we have 2 7-gallon water tanks, so we can have 14 gallons of water at all time. And then there's a bucket that holds it all that we drain out at a station whenever we need to empty that. We have not had to use our emergency toilet yet. It is in a box behind Scott's seat. I told you it didn't look like a toilet. Also, all of our extra water that I'm obsessed with having is also there. So I think that about covers it for storage. The main storage though is in the garage, which is underneath the bed. And as you know, I'm not allowed to organize that. So Scott will show you that mess in a little bit. Okay. More often than not, we are camping in a city. On the last few nights, we slept on the city street here in Moab, which they welcome. In Telluride, we slept in a city park, and when that is happening, there are usually a lot of street lights and things like that around, which is great for safety wise on the outside of the van. But on the inside of the van, you don't want all those lights. You need to sleep. So we have a couple options for that. It actually will be completely dark and black in here on the inside, as well as on the outside. Nobody can see in, and we have a couple ways that happens. One easy way is if we're just like going to dinner or just exploring around town, is we'll close these blackout curtains from the front, driver's and passenger seat. This prevents any looky-loos from trying to look into our van to see how we built it or what we have going on back there. Nobody can see in past the driver and passenger seats. So that's great from just like a day-to-day thing. We also do that at night quite often. They're blackout curtains, and you will get zero light through these, so that's great. When we drive, we push these curtains to the side. Just kind of tuck them behind each chair. And if it's really hot, especially in the summer, we have custom, I was gonna pull one down, but they're not there. We have custom shades that block out this entire area on the front and on both side windows. That really helps with heat, blocking out all of the heat, as well as any light that might filter through. So you have two options. You can close the curtain, or we can put all of the blinds in the windows that will block out any light and sun as well. We also have them on the back windows here too. We have two windows that Scott installed, and then we have these magnet shades that go over. This is the similar type of shade that we use in the front windows as well. So it's completely dark in here. Can't see in, can't see out. Nobody knows if we're sleeping on Main Street. Something else that makes the van not really feel like a van when you're in it are the seats. These seats did not come this way. The captain's chair did, but this area here used to be a bench seat that you could not manipulate or move. And so Scott actually found a matching chair at a junkyard, I think, lucky me, and actually removed the bench seat and installed this, and actually installed them on swivels. So he's going to demonstrate how we relax in our Burka loungers at the end of the day.
Okay, now I want to demonstrate the swivel seat process. So let's just swivel these seats around, take a peek at what happens here. So again, when I put, one of the important things is we work from the van. So I've got to be able to have a workstation here where I can get a dual monitor situation, laptop, TV monitor, you know, that kind of thing. But it's also nice just to have this one be able to swivel as well as the captain's seat. So again, Emily was saying I put these swivels in, so I bought these off eBay. Pretty big job to put these in. I've got a whole nother video about that. It took about 4 hours to get these seats out and the swivels in and everything. But basically you just grab this handle down here. You want to show the handle, Emily? Right there's the handle. So you just grab this and then swivel the seat. So now I can just spin it around, push it back, and this really opens up the space. I mean, now you got so much space here for activities. And it really opens up this whole area here as far as getting out of the van. So this is really nice. Love the swivel seat. Let's talk about the desk setup, and we'll do that now. Okay, now for the captain's chair, and this is where I work at. So when I'm in the van working, I want to sit here. And the reason is, so I swiveled this one around as well. Now this one's a little trickier. I've got to move it forward like that to basically get it around the steering wheel. So once we get it here, what I do is I now have this arm here, which is called a Laguna arm. So we installed this Laguna arm, which is this, and I can pull this out. So here is my desk. So with this Laguna arm, I simply do this. Now I come over here. Yep. I've got my desk here, so this is where I'll put my laptop. I can work, but here is my dual monitor. So now I can just flip this up, and I've got an arm installed on this monitor to bring around like this. Here's my laptop. Bring my laptop right here. And here's my workstation. So I can sit right here. I've got my mouse, got my dual monitor, complete workstation in my mobile van.
Okay, I'm down in the trenches here. I'm going to show you where our fridge is. Now the fridge looks like a typical cooler, but it is run off electric. Get to that in a second, but I'm going to show you the fridge. So again, runs off electric. You can see the wattage that it's using and the temperature of the fridge, and you just open it up kind of like you would a cooler. Then we have all of our lovely food in there in it. You don't have to worry about buying ice or anything like that because it runs off electric. So we have it can do freezer or refrigeration, and we don't have anything frozen in there though, all fridge. Now we'll talk about how we run electricity in our van. If you watch any van life clips or videos from other people, it can be very, very intricate and very confusing and very difficult to install. There's alternators involved, there's inverters, there's the actual like big heavy car batteries themselves that a lot of people power their vans off. of. Scott, however, chose a different route. He got something called the Goal Zero battery, which does all that in one. It does all the conversions that you would need within itself. And the cool thing about the Goal Zero is we have 3 ways to power it. So we can power it off solar. Scott can connect a solar panel directly into the battery. We also have this little thing over here that we can touch that powers it as we drive through the alternator. And then we also have shore power. Scott will show you outside, kind of like a typical RV. You can plug an outlet to the outside and that will go directly into the battery to charge it. So we do have to constantly monitor how much wattage we're using, how much battery we have left, and then we either need to throw solar panels up when we're out hiking for the day, or we need to find some electric to plug into in order to recharge it for our needs, to keep our fridge going, to keep our lights going. Over here, this is where we can plug in anything we need, our USB, our outlets. This can do our electric kettle, our hot plate, any of our other things that we need power on, our laptops, all those things. And all of this is connected to the battery I just mentioned, which is in the garage. Scott is going to talk to you about the garage because it is a mess, but if you read my other post, he knows where everything is. So one of the nice things that I like about the van, there aren't many, joking, is the beddy. This is called a beddy. It's actually like a large sleeping bag for the bed, and it zips on both sides and all the way around. So it's really easy to make in the morning. You don't have just like blankets thrown around everywhere. So it has a little bit of sheet that comes out for some extra comfort. Then you tuck it in and you zip it up and your bed is made for the day. It just keeps everything looking a little bit nicer and tidier. And so they're great. We were deciding what to do for the bed. Something that was really important is that when we sat on the bed, Scott didn't want to hit his head. Again, he's 6'4". The specs on the van, I probably should have said at the beginning, but this is the 136 wheelbase. It's the shortest of the ProMasters, but it is the highest roof. So we have a 136 wheelbase with the high top roof. So Scott can stand completely at 6 foot high, even with the ceiling installed, and be comfortable. But comfort in bed was also something that was really important. We bought a metal bed frame, I think off Amazon. And so this is just a metal bed frame. We have some storage under here too. We didn't talk about that. And it sits on top of this wood frame that Scott built, but we had to custom build it so that it would sit lower than most van builds, so that when he sat on it, he wouldn't hit his head. But Scott built the wood frame all by himself and for the garage, and that is what he will talk to you about now.
Okay, as you can see, the garage area is so organized. This is perfect. This is exactly the way I designed it. But anyway, we've got a lot of stuff in here. I mean, and actually it's always like this. So to get to certain things, you have to kind of remove things, put them on the bed. So like if I needed to get to my clothing, this is all my clothing here. And I've got lots of different little storage areas for clothing. But again, to get to it, I've got to pull the suitcase out, move some stuff up. And that's one thing about a van that you'll notice is you're always kind of moving stuff around to get to something. It's just, that's the way it is. It sucks, but that's the way it is. So anyway, this is the garage area. Again, we've got lots of little storage compartments in here and things. Hope you can see some of this. We've got another battery here in case our big battery was to die. But anyway, let me get back in the back, show you the Goal Zero real quick for just a second, and talk about the battery a little bit more.
Go.
Okay, so here is the big Goal Zero battery that Emily was talking about. This is what runs the entire van, and here's where I can monitor it. So 63% battery left. It'll be empty in 82 hours, and we basically just plug in all of our electronics to this battery. This again can be charged 3 different ways, like Emily said: solar, shore power, or while we're driving off the alternator. Okay, as far as shore power, here's the shore power plug I installed. Basically, you can see it's just an outlet. So all I have to do is plug in an outlet to a power source somewhere, and it can charge the battery extremely quick, actually. So from a dead battery, I can recharge the Goal Zero in about 3.5 hours if we have a dead Goal Zero. The other option we have, of course, is solar. So I have one solar panel here. This is 150 110 watt solar panel is what this is. So I can pop this open, lay it up on top of the van, and while we're out hiking or whatever during the day, this solar panel will charge and we're good to go.
So that's it. We hope you enjoyed our van tour.
We'll see you on the next adventure.